Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you a video today to discuss Zlatan Ibrahimovic and the boot drama that has been happening with this guy that a lot of you guys have been asking me about. So I figured I'd make a video discussing the matter and hopefully clarifying some things based on some theories and opinions that I have on this whole situation. So for those that don't know what has happened, Ibrahimovic has switched from Nike to Adidas and back to Nike in a very, very short period of time. And it's not uncommon to see big name players, one like Ibrahimovic, to switch from one brand to another, especially major brands like Nike to Adidas or Adidas to Nike. We've seen this various times before, but normally this is because of contracts ending and then new contracts being signed with a different brand. That's how the majority of these major endorsement deals work. A lot of people think that it's based on personal choice and personal preference, but it's not. It's money being exchanged, and whoever basically bids the highest is going to get their boot deal. That's who's going to be providing them their shoes because they're paying them to represent that particular brand. I've discussed this many times on the channel before, but it's a new concept to a lot of people who are perhaps watching this for the first time. So, what exactly has happened? Let's start from the beginning. Ibrahimovic has been a Nike-endorsed athlete for the majority of his career, at least the part of his career where he was very, very popular and arguably in his prime. You could say that he's out of his prime at this point, but he has been pretty good this year. Nonetheless, he's been a Nike-endorsed athlete, mainly wearing the Nike Mercurial Vapor line. He's had stints in Superflies, of course, but he has mostly worn the Vapors pretty much throughout his entire career up until this point. When the new Hypervenom line got launched, the Phantom 1, there was a period where Nike put him in that shoe as kind of one of the main faces to try and, I guess, garner some kind of popularity and help to market that new line, but he quickly switched back to Mercurial Vapors, and basically up until a certain point, he was wearing the current generation Vapor 11 until all of a sudden, he started wearing blacked out shoes. I believe he wore blacked out Vapors, he wore blacked out Adidas X16.1s, he wore some blacked out Pumas, I believe in practice as well. Not sure if he ended up wearing those in game, but that was for a couple of weeks. He was wearing only blacked out shoes. So you could only assume that his contract with Nike ended and he was basically in between contracts. You have to understand that with a lot of these big name players, when they've had endorsement deals and the contracts end prior to I guess renegotiating something, if they just let the contract expire, they're not going to wear a different shoe. They're not going to wear the same shoe without being blacked out because they don't necessarily want to advertise anybody for free. They're basically walking billboards out there. So like I said, they don't want to advertise anybody for free, so they black their shoes out. Obviously, we would assume that he didn't re-sign with Nike, not because Nike didn't necessarily want to re-sign him, but I would assume that Ibrahimovic perhaps wanted, or Ibrahimovic or his manager, I'm assuming him, probably wanted more money than Nike was willing to pay. And if you've watched any interviews with Ibrahimovic, if you know anything about this guy, you know that he thinks pretty highly of himself, and I'm sure that he assessed his own value as being much higher than what Nike thinks it is, and you can't necessarily blame Nike. Obviously, he's still a very big name. He's playing for Manchester United, which is an absolutely gigantic club. He's definitely in the public eye, but moving forward, given that the guy is, 34, 35 years old, definitely going to be past his prime, if not this year, but definitely in years following this one, he's not going to be a major player in terms of Nike's marketing material for future Mercurials or future shoes in general. He's just a little bit too old, to be completely frank, but that is kind of the nature of sports. Once you get into your mid-30s, no matter what sport it is, you're just not going to be as big a deal as if you're in your early 30s or obviously mid-20s, something like that. He's past his prime, to say the least. So I would assume that Ibrahimovic just wanted too much money and Nike was not willing to give that to him. So he obviously starts wearing blacked out shoes until eventually he's wearing fully branded, fully colored Adidas shoes, which obviously we would assume that he signed some kind of a contract with Adidas. He's been wearing the X16.1, I want to say for a couple of months now, but all of a sudden, he started wearing Nike Mercurial Vapor 11s again, fully colored in the new Motion Blur Pack, color. So why is this? Is he now signed with Nike? Well, like I said, we don't really know anything officially. I would bet that he probably has signed some kind of a deal with Nike. Did he sign some kind of a short-term deal with Adidas in the meantime? I would think so. I just don't think he would advertise somebody for free. He just doesn't seem like that kind of a guy. But it's very, very possible, and I think the most likely situation is that his contract ended with Nike, he signed some kind of a very short-term deal with Adidas, and now he's since has renegotiated some kind of a deal with Nike, and he's wearing their shoes again. That to me is the biggest, most plausible explanation here. The other thing to consider is that when you have a guy like Ibrahimovic, even though he's been endorsed with Nike, he's paid to wear their shoes, it's not necessarily a personal choice, he wore those shoes for such a long time that I'm sure he's developed some kind of a preference for the Vapor or whatever custom variation of the Vapor that Nike has been making for him. I'm sure he doesn't dislike the shoes that he's been wearing. So to get to a certain point in his career where, like I said, he's 34, 35 years old and having to switch his shoes, that's probably not something that he necessarily wanted to do, which is possibly what happened with this whole Nike switchback, is he probably decided, hey, I just want to wear the shoes that I want to wear, fully branded, not have to worry about it, and he probably just agreed and signed whatever Nike was offering him for a new boot deal. So I assume that's what the couple of months drama was with the blackouts and wearing Adidas shoes, is it was, for lack of a better term, kind of an FU to Nike for not giving him the money that he probably wanted initially when his contract first expired. So that's kind of what I think is the most plausible explanation for this situation. And again, knowing Ibrahimovic's personality, that's just what I think happened. But let me know your opinions on this down below in the comment section. It definitely is interesting. We'll see if this kind of persists as being more drama on this situation. I'm not sure if he's just going to stick with Nikes now or if he'll switch back to Adidas or switch to another brand. I don't really know, but that's the best explanation that I have. If any updates happen on this situation, I probably will make another video. But again, let me know your opinions on this down below in the comments. And if you have any questions as well on this situation, I'll do my best to answer them down below in the comment section as well. If you enjoy these styles of video and want to see more like this, be sure to support the video with a like. Of course, if you have any suggestions as well on other boot situations, leave those suggestions down below in the comments. I'll take a look at what you guys have to say. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.